Today you guys are going to be learning about percent of change. Basically what that means is that when something is changing, so going from one value to another, we're going to use a different proportion in order to solve our problems. Alright, so if we look at this example, Alexis got 8 questions correct on her first test. She got 12 questions correct on her second test. What was the percent of change between the two tests? Okay, so when you see words like, when you see a word like percent, we know we're going to do a proportion. But when we see like words like change or increase, decrease, mark up, which just means the price is being marked up. Like, so instead of, $5, they'll say, no, I'm not going to sell it for 5, I'm going to sell it for 7. So you mark up the price. Or mark down, tax, tip, commission, which we're going to talk about in class tomorrow, and profit. Okay, words like that are going to tell you that the price is changing. It's going from one value to the next. All right, and so whenever you have a change, to find out how much better she did on the second test, we're going to set up the proportion where we have the difference of the two numbers over the original. When we think of difference, we are going to subtract, okay? So you are basically subtracting the two numbers over the original, okay? The way that I write it is change over original equals percent over 100. Okay, and so that's basically saying we're not putting the old, we're not putting the new, but we're putting the change. What is the difference? How much do the two numbers change? And so the difference is found by subtracting. So we would subtract her two tests. So she got 12 and then she got 8. So we get 4. So when we set up the proportion, it's going to be 4 over 8 because 4 is your change, 8 is your original, and then x over 100 because we're doing a percent. And then you cross multiply and divide. So your answer is 50, so that means she did 50% better on her second test. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do some examples. All right, that's the best way for you guys to understand it. So on number 1, the original is 8, the new is 13. All right, so my change, my difference, I'm going to find that by subtracting. Okay, so we're going to subtract 13 minus 8. Well, can't do that, so see. 0, 3 goes 13. Okay, so 13 minus 8, which gives you 5. So 5 is my difference. So when I go to set up that proportion, we know that we're going to have x over here over 100, because that's what I'm looking for, my percent, because that's my keyword. And then on this side, we're going to look up here, okay, where we have, or right here. We have our change and then our original. So my change is the difference, which I found here. So we have 5 over the original, which is what I started off with, which is 8. Okay, so your new is never going to be in your proportion, all right? So that's your key. And then to solve this, we cross multiply and divide. So 5 times 100, 500, divided by 8. 8 goes into 56 times. 6 times 8 is 48. We get 2, bring down the 0. 8 times 20 goes in twice. We get 16. We subtract. I get 4. Add a decimal, add a 0, I get 40, and then that's 5 times. So my answer is 62.5%. All right? So if you had any issues or I was going too fast, make sure you go back and pause the video. All right, so now let's look at this one. Original is 16, new is 12. So I want to see if you can set this up. So pause the video and do the change. All right, hopefully you pause the video. We have original is 16, your new is 12, so 16 minus 12 gives you 4. So 4 is my difference, okay? Now, we have to set up my proportion, so pause the video and see if you can set up your proportion. Alright, hopefully you pause the video. When we set up our proportion, we know we have x over 100 because I'm looking for my percent, okay? Percent. Over here, like I said, we're not going to put the new in, but we're going to put our difference, which is 4. And then my original, which is 16. So hopefully you guys set that up. And so now what we're going to do is just cross multiply and divide. So go ahead and cross multiply, pause the video, cross multiply and divide, and see if we get the same answer. Alright, hopefully you pause the video. So you should have cross multiplied. So you got 400, and then you should have divided by 16. Okay? If you didn't already do that, pause the video and finish. All right, hopefully you pause the video. 16 goes into 40 twice. 2 times 16 gives you 32. When I subtract that, I get 8, bring down the 0, and then 16 goes into 80 5 times. So my answer is 25%. All right? The key thing to remember, if your price is changing, okay, you have one of these keywords, then you have to subtract. Yes, for increase in markup, tax, even tip. Yes, the price is going to go up, but you're going to subtract it to find the difference. All right? So let's do some more practice. So on the back, 8 is increased to 72. So I want you to pause the video and see if you can set it up. So pause the video. All right, so hopefully you knew that we have the word increase, which means that we're going to do change over original equals percent over 100. When I find the change, hopefully you subtracted 72 minus 8, and 72 minus 8, hopefully you got 64. And so now you set it up, 64 over my original, which is what I started off with, which is 8, equals x, because that's what I'm looking for, over 100, okay? So now we're going to cross multiply. If you did not cross multiply and divide, go ahead and cross multiply and divide. Pause the video and see if you can solve it. All right, hopefully you paused it. We have 64 times 100, which is 6,400, divided by 8, and that gives you 800%. Okay? All right, on number 4, pause the video and see if you can do it. All right, hopefully you were able to put that formula down. So it's change over original equals percent over 100. Remember that for change, we have a decrease. So that's my keyword, that something is changing. So we have to subtract. So go ahead and see if you can finish the proportion. Pause the video. All right, hopefully you paused the video and you were able to subtract to find the change. We get 9, and then we set up our change over original. I want you to notice that your original isn't always the biggest number, okay, but it's the number that you start off with, okay, it's the first one. And then this is my proportion. So if you haven't solved it already, go ahead and solve it. Pause the video. All right, and so when you solved it, you should have gotten 10%, okay? At this point, if you're having any issues, please raise your hand and ask one of the subs in the room, okay? All right, number 5. Miss Anderson made a New Year's resolution to go on a diet and exercise more. On January 1st, she weighed 160 pounds. 2 months later, she had dropped to 136 pounds. What was the percent of decrease in her weight? Okay, so a couple keywords here. We have this number. We have this number. So this number will represent our start, how much she started off with. This number will represent her end, like how much she finished, like how she ended. What was the percent? Percent tells me that I'm going to do a proportion. And then percent decrease is going to tell me that I'm going to do change over original equals percent over 100. All right? So see if you can set it up. Pause the video and see if you can set it up. All right, so hopefully you subtracted first to find the change. So when I subtracted, I get 24. And so now I'm going to set up the rest of it. So pause the video and see if you can set it up. All right, so that should have been how you set it up. So now we're just going to solve it. We're going to cross multiply and divide. So see if you can do that. All right, so when you solve it, you should have gotten 15%. Okay? All right, number 6. Jamal bought an Xbox for $350 and sold it for $437.50. What was the percent of profit Jamal made by selling the Xbox? So we're going to go and underline our keywords. So it started off at 350, okay? It ended at 437. And then we have percent. So percent tells me that, percent tells me that I'm going to do a proportion. And then the word profit, which was one of these that we put over here, is telling me that I'm going to use my change over original percent, okay? So we have change over original equals percent over 100, okay? That's a percent sign. Okay, so go ahead, pause the video, see if you can solve it. Yeah. So remember, your first step is to find the change. How much did the price change, okay, between where he bought it and when he sold it? Whenever you're subtracting a decimal, make sure you put the longest number on top, okay, the biggest number on top, and then fill in. So if this one's longer, you're going to just fill in your zeros, and then you subtract like normal. So 0, 5, bring down your decimal, straight down, 7, you can't do 3 and 5, so you're going to borrow. 13 and 5 gives you 7, gives you 8, not 7. Can't count. So 87.50 is my change. My original is what I started off with is 350. Remember, it's not the biggest, it's the one that came first. So over 350 equals, I don't have my percent, but I know it's going to be over 100. So here we're going to cross multiply and divide. So I'm going to cross multiply. When I cross multiply with this, I want you to actually do it. But your answer should be, make sure you pause the video and do it. So pause the video. Your answer should be 8,750. Okay? If you did not solve it, I need you to pause the video and solve it. You have to get practice doing multiplication and division. So you need to practice. So please, if you have not paused it and solved it, please do it. And then we're going to divide by 350. All right? So go off to the side, do your division. If you need another sheet of paper, go and get one. You know where they are. And then we're going to divide. So you end up with, so that is your answer, 25%. All right. All right, number 7. Fortnite is marking up their skins by 16%. The original price of a skin is $24. What will be the retail price? All right, so we have to go in and find our keywords. Well, we know markup was one of these words here that means that our price is changing. So we have markup. It's changing. This one they give me a percent. All right, and then it says the original price is 24. Well, marking up tells me that I'm doing my change over original equals percent over 100. Okay, I have a percent, so I know that I'm going to do a proportion. They give me the original, and I'm looking for their retail. Now, the definition of retail is kind of like the new price, like after you either mark it up or mark it down. So I'm marking up my price. That means my new price. To find it, we are going to add. Okay, so let's set up this proportion. We know that 16 goes in the percent because that has a percent sign, and we know that goes over 100. Now, in my formula, we have original at the bottom. Well, my original is 24, so that goes here. So I'm looking for what 16% of 24 is. Okay? So when we cross multiply, remember we're going to do it this way. So we have 24 times 16. 6 times 4 is 24. 12, 14. Placeholder 4, 2, 4, 8, 3. Okay? Then we have to divide that by 100. If you know how to do this division, go ahead and do it. I'm going to do it for those that don't know. So we have 100 goes into 384 3 times. You get 300. We get 84. Well, 84 is too small, so I'm going to add a decimal and add a 0 so that I can make my number bigger. 100 goes into 848 times. Well, 40 is also too small to go into 100, so I'm going to add another 0. I already added a decimal, so I'm not going to add another one. And 100 goes into 400 4 times. So my X is 16. That's 16%. That is how much they are marking it up. Okay? But we want the new price. This is kind of like new. So because I want the new price, and my marking up tells me to add, I'm going to take my original $24 and add $3.84. So now I have $27.84. Okay? And then the last one, a discount store marks down holiday decorations 16%, 16% off. Find the sale price of the decorations that regularly sell for $20. So if we look at this, we have marked down, which is my keyword that I'm going to do change over original. I have a percent here, and my percent tells me that I'm going to set up a proportion, and then it wants me to find the sale price. So if I am marking something down or taking something off, then I am going to subtract in order to find that sale price. And regularly means original. That's the same as original. So if I know I have to set this up, we have my change over original equals percent over 100. Well, my percent is 16. That goes over 100 because it's a percent. My change, I don't know how much the price is changing. I have no idea. But I do know that my start price, my original price, my regular price was $20. So now we're going to solve it. 20 times 16. So we have 16 times 20. All right, so pause the video here. See if you can do the math. Go ahead and pause it. All right, so you should have done 0 times 6, which is 0, 0 times 1, which is 0, placeholder, 0 times 2, which is 6, which is 12, and then 2 times 1, which is 2, plus 1, which is 3. So my answer is 320. Then we have to divide. So please pause here and divide. All right, hopefully you pause the video. This goes in 3 times. That goes in, well, 20 can't go, or 100 can't go into 20, so I need to add more. It goes twice. Okay, so we get 3.2. So 3.2 is my discount. That's 16% off. Well, I need the new price, the sale price. So now I'm going to subtract like I wrote. So we have 24. Make sure you're not subtracting by the percent, okay? You're not subtracting a percent by a whole number. My start, which was, oh, not 24, sorry, 20, because it says it right here. $20 minus 3.2, okay? We'll fill in any holes. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 2 I cannot do, okay? So I'm going to borrow. Well, then I'm going to borrow from the 0. Well, 0 is nothing, so I have to borrow from the 2. 2 becomes a 1. 0 becomes a 9. 0 becomes a 10, okay? 10 minus 2 is 8. Bring down the decimal. 9 minus 3 is 6, and then the 1 comes down. So my new price, my sale price, is $16.80. All right, so this is proportions and this is increase decrease. The thing that you have to remember is that you are doing change over original, not part over whole. All right, so this is that. The next video is going to be your practice problems for today. All right, y'all.